Welcome back to Green Bay Nation. Lindley's now here alongside Andy Herman and Marcus Eversole. It's Packers-Cowboys week as a pair of 3-1 teams clash in Dallas. But before we delve into that, the Cowboys, they lost in a low-scoring affair Sunday night to the Saints, who were without Drew Brees, and New Orleans really dominated that game in the trenches. Ezekiel Elliott just held to 1.9 yards per carry for 35 total yards. And guys, the Saints did their job in this one.
They definitely did. I feel like we can tell. We learned a lot about the Saints the last couple weeks. I feel like they are legit. When you can win back-to-back games with the backup quarterback, that's a good team. The Cowboys, on the other hand, I mean, through the first 3 weeks, they're 3-0. They look invincible. So everybody's like, man, how good are the Cowboys? Then you see them against the Saints, and you're like, how good are the Cowboys, really? You know, they looked a little different.
Yeah, you talk about before, maybe the Eagles putting a blueprint together on how to, stop the Packers or get them on defense. I think the Saints really put together a blueprint on how to stop the Cowboys this week. They really were fantastic in the trenches, as you mentioned. But I thought Marshawn Lattimore really took away Amari Cooper, and that really didn't give Dak Prescott anywhere to go consistently with the football. We know very well what Randall Cobb can do, but also some of his limitations. I think Tramon Williams and Randall Cobb is a really fun matchup, but I think that they really put on tape, what you need to do to get wins in the trenches, to stop Amari Cooper and really kind of stall that offense. Hopefully Green Bay can replicate that.
Well, speaking of the Packers, they'll head into Dallas this week, and both squads are banged up. I mean, their left tackle, Tyron Smith, already ruled out for the game. Devontae Adams, like we all know, turf toe injury is day-to-day. So what do you guys really expect from this matchup, considering and knowing that Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team, they've played really well at AT&T Stadium?
Well, you're right about that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers' track record speaks for itself in that building, but we all know how big Devontae is to the Packers offense. I mean, their offense runs through Devontae Adams when it's right. He's their best offensive weapon. But as big of a loss as it is for the Packers to play without Devontae, and I don't know how they're going to come out and attack this defense without him. I mean, that's a huge loss. It's a really big deal for the Cowboys to be without Tyron Smith because he is on the David Bakhtiari level of left tackles, and that's a huge loss. And there's a couple more Smiths on the Packers side that won't be mad about Tyron Smith being out of this one.
No, not at all. And this is the, where we are at, today's day and age in the NFL. It's a war of attrition. People are going to consistently be hurt, and it's how you kind of bounce back from that. It tests your depth. We're going to see what, Dallas has across their offensive line with no Tyron Smith. We're going to see what Green Bay has at that wide receiver position. I think this is a really huge opportunity for these younger receivers to step up in the absence of Devontae Adams. This is one of those games where if you can find out how to win with Devontae Adams, it can make you better throughout the entirety of the rest of the season when he comes back. So this is a character-building game if they can get the job done.
I totally agree. And the thing is, if the Packers want to get back on the winning track, we know we're going to be in for a good game no matter what.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I kind of want to know, what are your guys' key matchups to watch for in this game? And Andy, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I want to start right in those trenches. We know how important it is to stop Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm going to go with Kenny Clark right in the center of the defense. We talk about the Smiths, how great Jair Alexander's been, how much of a revelation it's been to have Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos back there at safety, but this defense still centers around Kenny Clark and what he can do in the middle of that defense. If he can keep Adrian Amos and Blake Martinez and some of those hybrid safety linebackers clean, if he can force players out to the edge where Preston and Zadarius can then kind of eat up some of those running backs, it is a huge win. And he's going up against Travis Frederick, who, when he was healthy 2 years ago, was one of the best, if not the best centers in the NFL. Of course, a lot of people know him from his days at Wisconsin. He has not been quite the same player since coming back from injury this year yet. I think it's a full expectation that he'll get there eventually. If Kenny Clark can dominate that matchup, if he can make things, troublesome for the Cowboys offense and have penetration, it is a huge win for the Packers defense.
I totally agree. If they can win in the trenches, they'll be in good shape. So Marcus, what's your key matchup in this game?
My key matchup is going to be Jair Alexander against Amari Cooper. Mike Pettin has an eraser, and his name is Jair. When he wants to use it, if the other team has a #1 receiver he wants to take out of the game, Jair Alexander is capable of doing it. Amari Cooper's been a Cowboy for 13 games. He has 10 touchdowns. He already has 4 this season. Andy already mentioned last week the Saints with Marshawn Lattimore. They were able to kind of take Amari Cooper out of the game, and the Cowboys offense didn't know what to do. They were just off all game. So if I'm Mike Pettin, I'm going to Jair Alexander, and I'm saying your job this week is simple. It's really hard, but it's simple. Take number 19 out of the game, and then we're cooking with gas.
There we are. And if we can keep him out, maybe stuff the run a little bit, this Packers offense is going, Packers fans might be happy.
Yeah, very much so.
All right, when we come back, the Packers schedule gets a little tougher. How will they fare this next month? We asked you guys for the answers. Stay tuned to find out.